welcome back to the Manga Path. It is time to go over another self-review where I go over my latest manga studies and some things that I've learned so far on this journey to creating my own manga. Now let's jump right in. I had to get the original sketchbook back out because some of our work is still in it. If anyone wants to see any of these first 10 that I've gone over, you can check out my other video on the reviews of them. They're all very fun to do. Let's start here with the My Hero Academia, second one I've done. With this one I was fairly happy with how it turned out. Both their faces are a little smushed, a little round. I haven't quite been able to capture All Might's like really sickly, super thin face yet. Chat bubble got a little thick there. Beyond that, I get a little nitpicky. My lines could be straighter for sure. The thickness and thinness of my lines in some spots could be better. But overall, I think this one turned out really well. Now, the whole point of these is we're just trying to have fun getting pen to paper and practicing. Getting our hands muscle memory down and practicing the tools we'll need to get the job done. Let's move on to the next one. Here we got Jujutsu Kaisen. Again, I think this one turned out really well. A few little things like I think his mouth was a little bit too wide here. Could have been a little bit narrower like it was in the picture. Maybe the jawline was a little bit too long here, or the mouth could have been opened a little bit more. You can kind of see a little bit of my brush strokes here, but this one I was able to achieve pretty much the same color all the way through this huge section here, which has been difficult for me to do so far. After this one, we have another Gachikutsu one. Really enjoying the style of this one so far, the artwork of the whole manga. I actually really liked how this one turned out with all the line work and the drawing itself. I could have done a little bit better on the wording. Down here is not too bad, but a little bit off right there. Could have been spaced out better. But I was actually starting to get a little upset when it came to all the shading. It was after this that I created my 9-tone set that I could just have handy and go to, because I tried to water down actually the permanent ink for this one for all the little shading spots, and I was kind of winging it up to this point, and it just did not work out. It went way too dark, and then once you go too dark, you can't really get it back to a light color unless we got some white ink and we wanted to redo it all, but not really going to do that to this scale. So we just lived with it and moved on and doing better next time. That's it for this sketchbook. So this one's actually going to be put up. I might grab it every now and then for some practice, but overall it's not the paper we want to use anymore, so we will probably just put this one up and go on to the new sketchpad. We have 4 new manga studies in this one, starting with Spy X Family. Immediately I could tell with this paper, even though it's only 10 pounds heavier, that it was a little bit better to draw on. The only spot where it kind of warped was right here, and that was more due to my fault. I had a little bit too much ink here at one time. Still learning how to get the brush to the correct wetness level before actually putting it to the paper. This was my first full body drawing, and it was a little intimidating at first, but I was able to map it all out. Proportions are pretty much correct. It could be a little bit better here and there, but I believe that we did a pretty good job for this being the first one in our sketchbook. Only, what would this be, 14 or so manga studies in, and we're learning. We're not looking for perfection here. We're looking to master our tools and gain that muscle memory in our hand. So let's move on. Here we are with the One Punch Man, finally out with the season 3. This one I had fun with all the different actions and emotions that were going on when Saitama is trying to catch the fly, or no, sorry, mosquito, which if I remember correctly, he never actually did catch the one he was trying to get. But with this one, I tried to really focus on getting straighter lines. My lines are so wavy all over the place all the time. I'm really trying to get these straighter, long lines, move my shoulder instead of my wrist and hand. We actually did a decent job all the way through. A few small hiccups. I think his arm here was a little bit off versus the hand. I think the hand could have been a little bit bigger. Going all the way down to here is where I had my real issue. I realized for the first time I might actually get some white ink, not for corrections, but to go over some of these dark spots at times, because it was hard to map out this negative spot right here, because I didn't quite have the gray ink to... I'll have to try it how the water inks watered down work with the nib pens. I might be able to map them out that way, but you're always going to see those lines because of the way the pigments stack on top of each other. So in scenarios like this, it would be a lot easier to just grab some white ink to draw in over our dark spaces. Only when needed. Only when, like right here, it would have kind of been nice to draw that in, but even right here, I probably would still just map it out and then color in around it. But for areas like this, it would be a lot easier to just get a little bit of white ink and draw it in, but we don't want to use it for corrections. Not for this. This is about line confidence and just, like I said earlier, learning our tools. And having fun. Biggest part. Here we are to One Piece, which I had some big issues with. I really like One Piece, and I wanted this one to turn out really well. And I feel like it didn't, but we powered through, and I do feel we'll do better next time. It was just an off day. It was a Monday. Because it all actually started after I got the panels laid out, which at this point I have never started over after I've gotten the panels laid out decently enough how I want them. It was with this first line, this first jawline line, where it's just way too round. It set the whole tone. His face was not long enough at that point, much too round. But again, we're not looking for perfection, so I told myself time to move on, and I went ahead and worked with it, did what I could, and overall you can tell who it is. It all worked out, but I still would have liked it to have been a little bit more like Luffy, like the picture, like a longer face all the way down here. It had a weird angle with how the perspective is here, and the way I drew it, I can't redraw it. Luffy ends up looking a little bit like a sloth down here, but so be it. Time to move on. We'll do better next time. And this is actually, this is our latest drawing. Which I do feel we redeemed ourselves a little bit here. I feel like not only did I redeem myself, but I learned a lot and actually applied it to this one. Everything that I've learned, I feel like I actually applied to this one, and that was a good feeling. I feel like I've mapped everything out a little bit better. I've taken into account where the manga paper usually has its guidelines. I've taken into account that our paper is a little bit larger than the normal manga page, and I feel like it all looks a little bit more spaced out how it should. With this one, we really paid attention to the pressure of our pen. So going from a very thick line to something a little bit thinner and that has a point, using different angles of our pen to achieve different line thicknesses. It's something that it's very hard to remember to do in the moment. That's why we are training our hands and the muscle memory to be able to just do it on instinct. And when we're not able to achieve the lines we want, or especially the thinner lines, which are probably possible with this, with a little bit more practice, but when we're not able to, we go to our fine line one, and I feel like I need to grab this a lot more for our hatching, because all the hatching on, especially Asta here, turned out fantastic compared to some of our other hatching elsewhere. Even just if we go back to the My Hero Academia one, that could have been, honestly, and on down the neck right here, could have been a lot closer to how this was, or how Asa's face is. It could have been a bit cleaner, but we learned that and we've adapted, and by now, by this one, we've started to apply things. We're able to not just focus on the drawing, but what our hand is doing and what it needs to be doing to achieve the look that we want. I'm going to keep doing these manga studies for a good while I gain the skills I need to advance further. When I feel I'm ready and have learned enough, I will begin doing little practice drills and releasing those, and after that, or even together with them, we will start creating our own little custom panels where we will go over like one little action of someone throwing a punch, or someone getting hit by a punch, a gunshot, a magic flame, something happening within just one little panel. Then we'll move on to doing full pages, and after that we will finally, down the road, create our own manga. We'll start with storyboarding, and then we'll go into planning out the pages, and when we start doing all this, we will finally pick up a pencil again, because we can't quite do our planning in pen, or at least I'd prefer not to. The pen is for line confidence, right now anyways. It's for line confidence, practicing, learning what it does, and then we will eventually need to pick up a pencil again, but that is not the time yet, and we will get there. Can't wait to do some more drawings and see what I learn next. I will catch you all next time. Keep drawing.